Welcome to Blessed Mess. These are some of my eBay items that I sold over the last 20 days or so. We'll start off with a book, and I'm not really sure why it says it sold for $50. I actually sold it for $40, but this is by Joyce Kilmer, and he died during World War I. This book is from 1945, and it is all of his poems, essays, and letters. He died as a soldier, I believe. So these are all of his poems, essays, and letters, and it sold for $40, not $50. It's an awesome book. It had some details about his manuscripts and how he wrote, and had some copies of letters that he wrote. And he's most famous for "There's Nothing as Lovely as a Tree," that poem. This is rule number 1. It's a Phil Town audiobook. It's read by the author. It's sealed in the package. And I always pick up sealed in the package stuff, especially if it's business or self-help related or religious related, and sold it for $22. Here's a really interesting item. It's an eyeglass holder, so you basically put your eyeglasses on the nose. If you can see the nose, and it's got an open mouth and a tongue hanging out, and it says Converse at the bottom. It's resin. It's about 8 inches tall, so it's like life-sized face. Thought it would be really cool for a teenager to have on their desk and just have their eyeglasses sitting on it. It's just like a sunglass display, I guess. And it says sold for $28.77, but I actually sold it for $20.50. I just took a best offer. This is something that I sold almost instantaneously. I saw it at a Goodwill, got it for $1.59, sold it for $11. I listed it, hit submit, went to the next item, and it sold. I thought, oh man, I listed it way too low, but that's fine. It made me $10. Here's a yoga course. Sold it for $12.50. I talked about this in an earlier video about weird things, and I just really love the pictures in this. Here's a SpaceX t-shirt. It's from Space Camp in Alabama, and I saw it, and I think I got it for $1 because it was half off on, normally t-shirts are $2. I got it for $1. Listed for $19.50, and it sold like super fast. Like within a day it was sold, just because it's got SpaceX on it, I guess. But that's why it intrigued me, because it had SpaceX. And the next item is a Stetson hat, and that's Beck. She's got Beck written on her neck. Beck sold this one for me. It was $25. And that's what it sold almost immediately. The next hat is I've been horsing around in Kentucky, and it sold for $15, not $25. That's what I listed it for, but I actually sold it for $15. Someone gave me a best offer, and I took it. It's something I picked up for $1 at a Goodwill, and it was in perfect shape, and I just started blowing things out and offering stuff. This sold for $23, not $25. Took a best offer of $23, and it sold pretty quickly. It's another Stetson hat. This one is much more like a business person's hat. The other one's more like a gun club, or more like outdoorsy Stetson hat. This one's like going to church type of Stetson hat. It was in size 7. It's too small for me. I'm like 7 3/8. The next couple of items that I had were this is a denim shirt. It's a female denim shirt. Sold it for $28. I had a local pickup on this. It was a women's medium. Great shape. I don't think it had ever been worn, but it was vintage. And I did a video on this and had it on my mannequin, so it perfectly fit my mannequin, so I knew it was going to sell really quick. The next item are some jeans that my wife picked up. I can't remember where she picked them up, if it was at a consignment store, but she got them really cheap, thrown in on a deal, and sold them for $25.50, and that was a local pickup also. Those sold almost immediately as soon as I put them up. Lucky Brand jeans do really well for us here. And the last item that I have are some candlesticks. Well, these candlesticks, I thought were going to be great sellers. They're Roseville pottery. I bought them in an auction lot with probably 9 other pieces of pottery. The candlesticks kind of sold me on buying the lot, which was kind of weird. I bought these well over a year ago. This is the thing that made me buy the lot, and I bought the lot for $16, so it's kind of weird that these sold for $16, but I bought that entire lot for $16. I sold like 7 pieces out of it, large pieces, vases, things that are chipped, and it all sold. These are all made in the USA. I think people just thought they were ugly. I don't know, but they finally sold after a year, and sold them for $16, which kind of cleared whatever I bought them for. But I made out like a bandit on that because I wasn't expecting the other things to sell because they were chipped or damaged, but they sold. Thank you for watching.
So Jesus went with them. He was not far from the house when the centurion sent friends to say to him, "Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. That is why I did not even consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes, and that one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him. And turning to the crowd following him, he said, "I tell you, I have not found such great faith, even in Israel." Then the men who had been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. Soon afterward, Jesus went to a town called Nain, and his disciples and a large crowd went along with him. As he approached the town gate, a dead person was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And a large crowd from the town was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her and said, "Don't cry." Then he went up and touched the bier they were carrying him on, and the bearers stood still. He said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk. And Jesus gave him back to his mother. They were all filled with awe and praised God. "A great prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has come to help his people." This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country. John's disciples told him about all these things. Calling 2 of them, he sent them to the Lord to ask, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" When the men came to Jesus, they said, "John the Baptist sent us to you to ask, are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" At that very time, Jesus cured many who had diseases, sicknesses, and evil spirits, and gave sight to many who were blind. So he replied to the messengers, "Go back and report to John what you have seen and heard. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me."